Hi, my name is John Collada. Today I'm doing a speech on techniques of deep sea fishing. First, I'm going to start off with techniques of how to catch a billfish. A billfish is any fish that has a long bill, which could be a blue marlin, black marlin, white marlin, sailfish, um, any fish, like I said, with a bill. There's many different types of reels you can use to catch billfish, which are more recommended would be a pin 80. They have pin 130s that are very well. Pin 130 is a tad bit bigger, exact same looking reel, just a little bit bigger. Pin 80 and a pin 130 pin 80 is called a pin 80 because it's 80-pound test. Pin 130 is 130-pound test. Another thing you want to make sure you have on your pin 80 or pin 130 is a bent stock. Bent stocks allow your pole to aim towards the fish or directly to the water, so there's not a huge bend in the pole when the fish hits. Also, you want rollers on your eyes of the pole instead of just rubber bushings due to the friction caused from the fish running at high rates of speed and taking off really quick, and the initial hit it causes a lot of friction and can pop your line. But with the rollers, this allows you your line to stay fine. What also I want to go over, which another great thing is lures. One of our favorite lures is an islander with a ballyhoo. An islander is the lure itself. It's a pointed lure with a skirt off the back, which has a hook on it, on the lure itself. What you do is, in ballyhoo is an actual fish that is dead, and you wire the fish onto the hook. As you can see, the hook goes through the fish, which all you do is feed the hook through it and wire it in, and the fish's snout will fit into the ballyhoo. This creates a real effect to the fish movements and the smells and the way the fish moves behind the boat. Very important. This is one of the biggest lures that catches blue marlin, and it's one of the best lures you can use. And after that, I'm going to show you another great step into catching blue marlin or billfish is your line setup, this is a rough draft of how our boat fishes the lines, which there's many different ways. But you have your two outriggers. These are the outriggers that they come off the boat, which the lines go medium backwards on the boat. But your farthest line is your center line. Your center line is the first line you put out. It's the farthest line behind the boat, and that can be up to 1 mile to 2 miles behind the boat, however you prefer it. But we keep ours fairly close, just behind the outriggers. Then you go to your flat lines. Your flat lines are almost directly behind the boat, maybe, I would say, about 60 feet behind the boat. And if you could see these lines, they're all set in different increments. And this is for turning, but also to make the lures look like a school of fish. And then, I did not write this in, but behind the boat, directly behind the boat, would be bait fish that you would just have no hooks on. So it would look like this school of fish would be coming behind the boat to chase another school of fish. And it's all about, it's like a feeding chart. Out in the wild, smaller fish get eaten by the bigger fish, and that's your setup that you have behind your boat to catch the bigger fish, and that's how you catch a blue marlin. Now I'm going to move you techniques how to catch a tuna. Tuna are very fun fighting fish, very fast, and very good eating fish. There's, like I said, a different type of reels. You can use small spinning reels to catch these, not small, but around 25, 30-pound tests, which is like a pin 20, 30, but this is not a spool. This is one that you just reel in and that spins. And types of lures to use on these These fish are, you can use, we use poppers at night. At night you use a popper, just like you would say bass fishing. So floating popper that you yank really hard and the tuna come up there because they like to feed on top of the water at night. And but much less during the day, you can use the ballyhoo and islander to catch these fish. Also, you have fast lures, speed lures that just pointed lure, just like this lure right here I brought to show you. This can be used to catch blue marlin as much as tuna. These lures, most of the time you want them blue and white. They're favorite, seem to catch more fish. This is a Macara lure, which is also named after rig in the Gulf of Medusa. Very good lure, which most of the time on these lures you want to keep the hooks right underneath the skirt so the fish can't see them, but the realistic movements of these lures catch you as much fish as you want. Next, I'm going to move on to how to catch a wahoo and a mahi-mahi. Wahoo and mahi-mahi are two different types of fish, but fishing them is just about the same. You use same lures. Really, in all honesty, you can use the same lures as same rig up poles, your flat lines and your center riggers and outriggers, all to catch this fish. A little bit slower speeds on the boat. Marlin's about 8 knots. These fish you want to run about 5-6 knots. And the lures, same thing. But these fish you really want to use same lure as this. I mean, they all come with the same. But this lure is about a page big, as you can see. But usually you want to use them a little bit smaller because they tend to eat just a tad bit smaller fish, but they will swallow this lure depending on how big the wahoo and mahi-mahi. The ones in this picture, if you could see how big they are to these guys, they would swallow this lure with not a problem. And that's how they love it, you know. Let's see, types of fishing rods for these lures. You want to use a 50 or a 60, which is the same as this pin right here. Pin reel, which is same, smaller. You can use a straight rod for those. You don't have to have a bent one. The rod can be straight. You want spinners on them because just like a blue marlin, those fish take off like a rocket, and you don't want a lot of tension on the line or a lot of drag. So that concludes my speech on techniques of offshore fishing. Thank you.